All right. Welcome, 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 ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us today on our nuts and bolts. We'll just do this and we'll get started. All right. So my name is Kalpesh Patel, and I am super excited to be delivering tonight's nuts and bolts leadership training. And tonight, for the first time in forever, I'm going to use some slides. How about that? I don't often, as you know, I just let it roll, as they say. But tonight, I thought, being the first nuts and bolts of 2023, let's start off with a passionate subject of mine, which is all around goal getting rather than just goal setting. And I want to kind of set up the context, right? Why goal getting? Why did I change the S into a G? Very, very simple. Over the decades, one of the things that everybody would have noticed is that we all, at some point, will have gone through the exercise of setting goals, right? And we should, if we're in business, we should all be pretty familiar with how to do that, right? Like big vision, break it down into chunks, actionable steps, micro chunks, baby steps, daily actions, etc., right? Visualized, all of that stuff. Great, wonderful. So you've got all of that. You've got all that under your belt. And if you're new and you don't know about any of that, guess what? The whole world will teach you about all of that, all right? So fear not. That's all covered in the world anyway, right? But then there's like the stuff, what I call the intricate stuff in between, that a lot of times gets missed out. You know, the invisible stuff in between all of the obvious stuff. And that's what I want to touch on tonight. So let me start with my slides. I'll come off them soon, but I just want to use them because I do this visual demonstration of how I see it in my head. And, you know, I've had help and support in getting that put onto slides so that it looks something like this. One moment. Here we go. So it's part of my Owning Your Life seminar, and I'll see which slides are relevant and which ones aren't, but it's in here. So owning your life is what it's all about anyway. For me, that is the context of everything I do. I want to empower as many people around the world as possible to own their life. Like, what does that even mean? How do you own your life? All right. And it's going to be different for every human being, what owning your life means. For me, it's very simply put that you can decide what to do, how to do it, when you want to do it, who you want to do it with, etc. Like, everything's on your terms. All right. So what does it mean to you? Like, really get clear for yourself. What does owning your life mean to you? Because it is the meanings that will move us. All right. Our meanings move us. Without meaning, everything's pointless. So when you attach a meaning to something, that's when it becomes personal for you. All right. So, you know, we've got all different areas of your life that you can work on. And, you know, at different stages of life, different things are important to us. Depending on what part of your life you're in, which part of the journey you are in, then a different part of this would be more important than something else. So the first thing to do is to put it in the order that most suits you. All right. So what is high priority for you now? Example, if somebody gets the shock of having a heart attack, chances are health might, doesn't always, but it might come high up on their, if you like, values and what's important to them. If somebody's on the brink of bankruptcy in business, finance, cash flow, like immediate cash flow, will be what they need to solve. All right. Forget all the other stuff. How are you going to solve not going bankrupt? So if you've just had a baby, you know, making the adjustments around that, the life adjustments, the time adjustments. So depending on the part of your life you're in, you're going to have your priorities are going to be different, right? So decide which priorities are most important to you. And then the biggest shift is going to happen in terms of those that achieve and reach and get their goals versus just thinking about them. For me, is getting rid of all the noise in between you and where you want to be. So you've got you've got your goal, and then you've got all the stuff in the middle. And the more you can eliminate that stuff, clear it out. We're often holding on to grudges and internal noise, blame, frustrations of the past, limiting beliefs, fear, negativity, guilt and shame inherited from your youth. So many different things are going on in here that it's almost counterintuitive. Like, setting goals on top of all of this makes no sense. It's like building a house on sand without firming up the foundations, right? And everybody knows you can't build a house on sand because it won't last long. It won't stand up for long. However beautifully it's built, it just won't last long. And so for me, this is the foundation work, eliminating all of that stuff underneath. All right. And it's not something that's overnight for most people. And it's something that's ongoing for most people, right? It's not like you get rid of it one day and it stays away. It's always waiting around the corner to come back in. It's a little bit like how Jim Rohn explains beautifully, that when the light is on, it's nice and bright, but darkness isn't far. The minute you flick the light switch off, bang, darkness is just waiting to fill the light. So the minute the lights are switched off, the darkness is already there. So even when the lights are on, you already know the darkness is there, right? The lights are on, gives the illusion of light, but the fact of the matter is darkness is what's present naturally, and then light is what illuminates. All right. So this stuff is naturally present in the background always, and we're constantly clearing it out, constantly keeping light, if you like, in the dark areas of our lives. All right. So owning your life starts with taking 100% responsibility for everything. And I mean everything. Easier said than done, right? Easier said than done. Like most people don't even know what that means. 100% responsibility. Most people can't even imagine. Imagine you are 100% responsible for everything in your life. Everything you love about it, everything you've designed, everything that you're already responsible for. That's the easy stuff, right? When we're winning, we own it all. Oh yeah, I did that. That's because of me. I changed that. I improved that. I take credit for that. That's the easy stuff. And then there's a whole bunch of stuff out there that you don't want to take credit for. All right. Somebody else's fault, the boss's fault, the government's fault, the fault of the economy, the fault of the stock market, the fault of the crypto market, the fault of a friend, the fault of a neighbor. It's always somebody, somewhere, something outside of your control. And that's where you are completely limited. So here's a roadmap that I've figured out over the decades, if you like, in a nice visual format. Not I figured out, everybody's figured it out. It's not, and everything I always share, I always say that, everybody already knows it. I don't take credit for inventing any of it because you can't invent anything. Everything's been invented over hundreds of thousands of years of evolution. Of course, we can only explain it maybe a little bit differently, a little bit simpler. I try to simplify stuff. I know other trainers try to complicate it so that they can make it look harder or tougher or more difficult than it actually is. For me, I really do see simplicity in a lot of stuff. So let's play with this, right? So you got to learn to take responsibility of every single thing, right? So your values, like what are they? Do you even know what your values are? What do you stand for? What's the old quote? If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. I love that. It's one of my favorite quotes. If you don't stand for something, you will fall for anything. How many people do you know that are not clear of their values, of who they are, what is meaningful to them, and they compromise their decision-making processes? They take shortcuts. They turn a blind eye. They lie when it's convenient. They make up stories if they have to. All of that kind of stuff. And it's how most people live. Nothing wrong with it. But there is a possibility beyond that where you don't do any of that. And you actually just face things head on, right? So, owning your thoughts. Like I always say, you can't control your thoughts. They're random. Nobody can control their thoughts. What you can do is focus on the ones that are valuable to you. Focus on the ones that add value to you. Focus on the ones that empower you, that grow you, that take you in the direction that you're committed to going in. That's what we can do. We can't control thoughts, but you can own your thoughts, right? All of them, 100%. Every human being thoughts. We all do. There's nobody mightier than thou or higher than thou or more enlightened than thou. There's none of that. It's all nonsense. Anyone that claims it is full of shit. We all have crappy thoughts. We all have disempowering thoughts. We all have thoughts that are based on greed and fear and selfishness and all of that stuff. It's all there, like darkness. It's just always there. But we also have the ability to ignore those thoughts, override those thoughts, and choose the ones that give us a better outcome, right? And then, of course, building your beliefs. Your beliefs will come from your thoughts and your values, right? Your values and your thoughts are the springboard of all of it, right? And then you'll start developing your beliefs from that. So when you start choosing better values and choosing better thoughts, you can start building stronger beliefs. Your language changes, right? Your thoughts give you your description, your ability to articulate and explain and describe and, paint, if you like, the canvas. So improving your words, your vocabulary improves when you get this stuff right. For example, back in the day, I used to swear a lot. As a teen, I grew up in a school where swearing was kind of very normal. We picked up the words and we did what we did, and it wasn't long before it started creeping into my vocabulary as a everyday thing. And then it was highlighted by my beautiful parents that that's not how people that do better in life speak. And initially, of course, I didn't really understand much of it. As time went on, the more it was hammered into my brain, the more I realized, and I started cleaning that stuff up, right? So improving your vocabulary, reducing the words that don't add power or add value or improve the energy, the vibration, the frequency of the planet, and replacing them with words that do, for example, right? And we know our language, thoughts give words power, and words give feelings power. Thoughts and words combined generate feelings. That's right. You can manipulate how you feel. See, manipulation is not a horrible word. It's whether you use it horribly or not. If you can manipulate your thoughts and your beliefs and your language to make yourself feel better, more capable, more powerful, why wouldn't you want to do that? Why wouldn't you want to learn the secret of the ages? And this is what all of this boils down to, right? And of course, how you feel determines what you do, your behavior, your actions, your daily habits, right? So, how you behave, your actions will then, over time, consistently, when stuck to a certain course charted over time, creates a result. Very, very common analogy. An airplane leaves a destination, set to land in another destination, is off course over 90% of the time. It's off course over 90% of the time. But thanks to making constant adjustments along the journey, ongoing, like the darkness is always there, going off course is always there. And then it needs, whether it's humans or computers that do it, doesn't matter these days, planes that can fly themselves, but it needs a mechanism to readjust the direction of the plane so it lands where it's supposed to land. Analogy, ships, same thing, setting the sails. You can't control the wind, you can't control the sea, but what you can control is the set of the sails, and that gives you pinpoint accuracy as to where you end up. Doesn't matter how you get there. Can you see how it all falls together? How doesn't matter. Like the how. You need to know exactly where you're going and then make whatever adjustments are necessary as you go along, and you will get there. The environment can consistently change and challenge you, but it doesn't matter once you know where you're going and you know how to set the sails or how to set your dials on an airplane or in a car. If you know how to steer and hit the accelerator or the brake or the clutch, depending on what you need to do, and the indicators and the wipers, and when you know how to use everything all at once, then you have a journey that gets you from A to B with pinpoint accuracy, 100% of the time, right? So, and then, feedback, getting the feedback so you can improve all of this as you're going along. Because if you're doing it in your own lane and all you've got is your own feedback, then you are, again, limited. This becomes unlimited when you're taking constructive and positive feedback from people that have got your back, right? Those that have got you 100% and are committed to your winning as you're committed to your winning, all right? So for me, it's kind of a sequence of events that's practiced over time until you get to a point of mastery. So I own my health and energy. I own my finances. I own my career and business, my mental well-being as well, right? My mental well-being, personal growth, relationships, right? And just add, create this. This is yours. So create to add, take away, adjust, do what you need to do to create your own life that you own, right? And then it means owning 100% responsibly every sector of your life, like taking full responsibility. So no one else is to blame. No one else is responsible for that. You are 100% responsible. So that is kind of a quick overview of, like getting goals, right? So getting goals, and again, it always boils down to the same thing, is getting yourself, all right? Now, one of the other things that I wanted to put in your picture, and I thought it was on those slides, it's obviously not, the slide deck that I created some time ago is, and some of you have seen me draw this before, and I haven't got any paper or pen around me, so I'm going to have to just talk, and you guys just do it.
If you open the next slide deck on your WhatsApp, I think it will be in there.
Can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yeah, if you open the next slide in your WhatsApp, I think it's in there. That's the one about the bigger goal, yeah?
1 second. Switch my WhatsApp off, so it'll take a minute to boot. All right, so while that's happening in the background, so I hope that was adding some value. I'm going to just quickly open up, take a couple of questions if there are any, just to clarify anything that people want clarifying on that section, then I'll go into the other visual. So anyone that wants to ask anything at this point can just raise your hand, and I'll happily take any questions on the first part. Anyone? I've got it over there. Thanks for that. Thank you. No questions? All right, let me see if this is open. Yep. There we go. All right, this I think is the one that I wanted. Let me see. Yes. Okay, good. So come back in the Zoom room. No hands up, so I'll carry on. There you go. Let's go straight into the next part. So here's a little visual demo. All right. So let's get rid of that. Okay. Here we go. So this is you on your journey to wherever you want to get to, right? Everyone's goals, destinations, end results are different. So it's very important that you are absolutely clear where it is you want to head to next. All right. Like, what is the next destination that and this works for short-term, medium-term, and long-term goals. It's exactly the same philosophy and, if you like, process that will get there. So when you start out your journey, and this is so poignant this time of the year, everybody is so excited about a date on a calendar. I don't understand it. I used to be the same a few decades ago, but I don't, certainly the last 15 odd years, I haven't understood the concept that we only do this once a year. However, it is a starting point. At least we do it once a year, right? If we didn't celebrate New Year's Eve, i.e. a specific date in the calendar once a year, then we wouldn't even do this much, right? So it's great that everyone in the world right now is remotely, slightly, tiny little bit open to this year is the year. But we've all been there, right? We all hear it in environments that we're in over the years. New Year's Eve especially starts around maybe Christmas time or in and around, like December is that feel, end of a chapter, end of a year. Most people are happy to see it close. Like, why aren't you excited that it was there and not wanting to close the door? Go, no, I want to keep that alive right here, right now. But most people want to close that door and they're looking forward to a new door in front of them, like something's suddenly going to change at the stroke of 12. Here's the downside. Here's the negative news. It doesn't. Nothing changes at midnight on New Year's Eve. Nothing. Nada, squat, diddly, zero. Nothing. Absolutely nothing changes. The evidence is overwhelming 2 weeks to a month into the new year, by which time every single goal that everybody set a few weeks earlier has gone back into the back of their mind and they're waiting to reset it again in 12 months' time. The power of this exercise is that you want to be resetting it at least once a month. Masters do it every week. Legends do it every day, ongoingly. All right. So know, where is it you're heading and is what you're up to right now empowering that destination. Inevitably, stuff's going to get in the way. These are your obstacles, your circumstances, your stories. So you can see when you set the goal, it's 100% clear. There's nothing in the way. You're crystal clear where you're heading. Bang. When this happens, your vision, your line of vision, your line of sight is blocked. by this. So you can only see this. Can you see that? You can only see the crap that's in the way, the obstacles, the circumstances, the excuses, the stories, the reasons, right? We're all reasonable about our goals, why we can't, why somebody else can, but not us, all right? All of that nonsense that kicks in, all of that noise in your head that takes over. You're not good enough. You've never been good at it. You know, you're not designed that way. You're not wired that way. Whatever story you might have created in your head, this is exactly what happens, all right? So what do? You increase the size of the goal. This is why every single book and every trainer and every orator and every person that's done anything that's been spectacular, if you like, or beyond expectation, like extraordinary is a beautiful word that captures it. Anyone, anywhere that's ever done anything extraordinary will always say, think bigger. Think bigger. The smaller the thought process, the bigger the obstacles appear. But the bigger the goal, the smaller the obstacle appears. And now, doesn't matter where the obstacles are, your line of sight is still available. You're not losing your line of sight. Can you see that? The bigger the goal, the more odds that you don't lose sight of the goal. And when you don't lose sight of the goal, you can clear your obstacles. So that's kind of a quick demo of how it works. Very simplified version of how everything over the next 12 months is going to work for everybody. And you're either going to be on top of that stuff ongoingly or not. And when you see people give up, when you see them leave, when you see them leave the field, throw the towel in, it's because they lost sight. What happens when somebody signs up? They all sign up because they see something for themselves. It's really simple, isn't it? Can you see? Like, you'll see it straight away now. When somebody signs up, they're super excited, amped, ready to rock and roll, conquer the world, do all of these wonderful things. And then 2 weeks later, they're missing in action. Nobody knows where they are. What happened? Avoiding phone calls, avoiding responses to SMSs or WhatsApp messages, or not showing up on Zooms. They go quiet. All right. Why? Because people know that it is uncomfortable to make a declaration one day and then not be in touch with that declaration 2 weeks later. They're embarrassed to face the fact of the matter. But if you can show them what happened, because they don't know, most people don't know what happened. For them, they just got disempowered, and they relate it to the disempowered part of it, i.e. the obstacle, the circumstance, the mess, whatever got in the way. They relate to that as real, and they relate to that as final. That's all they can see. They've lost sight. It is up to us to do everything we can to remind them that that isn't the end goal. That isn't all that's available. That isn't the limit to what's possible. It's just temporal. It's just now. But there's a much bigger picture beyond whatever it is that they're dealing with. And that is the job of leaders, is to identify as quickly as we can where people fall off the ledge and see if we can save some. You're never going to save them all right? But if you know some of this stuff, you might save some of them. You might be able to point them in a better direction so they can climb out of their hole and continue holding a vision bigger than their circumstances. You can't change their circumstances. Only they can. All right? Well, nobody can change circumstances. You can recognize the circumstances and realize that your circumstances are not the be all and end all, and then continue to work towards smashing through them, overcoming them, digging under them, walking around them, solutions, working out the solutions to whatever challenges pop up. Challenges are always there for everybody. People sometimes look at leaders and go, yeah, it's all right for you. You haven't got a clue, have you? You missed it. Again, you absolutely missed it. Everybody has challenges, all right? The bigger the leaders show up, the bigger goals they're playing for, the bigger their challenges. So, you know, to ignorantly say it's all right for you because it's more of the same. Can you see that? Blame, excuses, stories, justifications. That's what we do. We'll justify our smallness, our weakness, our inability by pointing at things that either make sense to us or we make them make sense to us. That's what justification is, right? Like, it might not make sense to anybody else watching from the outside in, but you are 1000% convinced that your reality is the only reality. It is the absolute fact. Nobody can change that for you. And it's true. If nobody can change it for you, you definitely can't change it. When that is your reality, that's all you're limited to. This whole concept of thinking bigger is one of the hardest concepts to get your head around. Most people are too scared to understand it. The solution to all of your problems is to think beyond them. There you go, I just said that. Boom, write that one down. The solution to all of your problems is to think beyond them. The reason people sync with their problems is because that's all they think about. And what you think about expands. What you think about dominates. What you obsess about comes about. What dominates your mind is what you manifest. That's all that's going on all the time. Hence why the people that are always smiling, always upbeat, always moving forward, no matter what, they have the same shit happen to them. But their attitude is different, and that's what makes all the difference. They're able to see beyond and past what's going on now. They have an incredible faith in themselves, their abilities, in the universe, that they'll work it out. They've got no clue how, and it doesn't even matter. How doesn't matter. When you know that you'll work it out, you always do. Things just happen the way they're supposed to happen. When you know that you're not, that's not all it is, and you're not focused 100% and obsessed 100% on the problem, on the challenge. So hopefully that visual helps you going forward. The next time you're stopped, the next time you're limited, the next time you fall off a cliff, the next time you go AWOL, the next time you hide, the next time you bury your head in the sand, the next time you're under the duvets, the next time you don't feel like waking up, the next time you don't want to get on a Zoom, the next time you don't want to attend a meeting, guess what? That's when you have to apply this stuff. That's when you have to remember, you have to dig deep and go, okay, I remember that call. I remember that conversation. I have to think past this feeling. I have to think past these thoughts. I have to recreate my thoughts, my feelings. That will give me that will compel me a little bit to take a baby step out of bed, out of the bedroom, out of the front room, out of the front door. You know what I mean? It's like, whatever it is for you, the next thing. But that's knowing that whatever it is that's got you now is temporary. Buddha's wisdom, right? This too shall pass. And it's not Buddha's wisdom. Of course, it's not. Like I said, nobody invents anything. He would have picked out from whoever said it in a different way before him, right? All of this stuff's hundreds of thousands of years old, right? Written down tens of thousands of years ago. Nothing's new. This too shall pass. Everything does, including life. We'll be dead in no time at all. So, and the reason we'll die is because we don't figure this stuff out. Stress is the biggest killer. So if you're buried by your circumstances, your situations, your current challenges, that will kill you. Life won't kill you. Possibility never killed anybody. Potential never killed anybody. What's available never killed anybody. What kills people is the small stuff. We get consumed by the small stuff and it buries us, all right? So learning to think past it. And this works for everything. How many people are devastated because of relationship? That's what will kill them. The stress, the negative, disempowering, minimizing thinking process. That's what will kill them. Not the relationship breakup. How they related to the situation is what will make them smaller. When I say kill them, I don't mean finite. I don't mean life, death. I mean dead while you're alive, right? How many people fail in business and bang, they're devastated, finished. They lose months, years in devastation. Hanging on to, and it's in the language. As networkers, you all will notice this when you're sharing. Your stories are still talking about the past. I used to do this, or I did this in the past. I once upon a time, talking about once upon a time, nobody cares. What are you doing now? Where are you heading now? What are you up to? That's all they care about. You're still hanging on. That's your subconscious talking. Every time you reference your past, your subconscious is talking about something historic, doesn't even exist anymore, has zero power right now. However great it was means nothing if you're not able to draw on that power and be that now. Doesn't matter how brilliant you were, how great you were, what mountain you climbed, what result you peaked at, none of that matters. What matters is, where are you going next? What are you focused on? Where are you heading? Get excited about that, more excited than historical. Get more excited about your future than you've ever been about your past. And however brilliant your past has been, it's just a place to build from, not a place to hang on to. A place to build from. Can you see that? Completely new energy, new approach, and new mindset, because you're now in creation mode. You're not stale. You're actually inventing. Yeah. So I hope that's given some good clarity on the simplicity of goal getting versus goal setting. So do all of that, right? If you're in that phase of your life where you need to affirm every day. If you need boards on your wall to remind you of where you need to go, put them on the wall. But I can promise you, none of those things do anything. There's nothing more powerful. The most powerful vision board on the planet is the one you've got in your head. It needs to be crystal clear in your head where you're heading. You don't need well, some people do. That's what I'm saying, depending on where you're at. But when you get clear about some stuff, you don't need props. It's in here. Clarity. Where are you going? What are you up to? What do you stand for? What are your values? What will you not compromise on? Can you see what I'm saying? It's like getting it clear here. Your vision board is here. Your affirmations are here. The ability to draw out the thoughts that empower and build you are here. Your ability to draw on that for language, for wording, for description are all from inside here. Your ability to then behave in accordance with what you're saying, your language, your wording, all of that, it's all here. But if you need stuff to remind, for me, that stuff is still having you play small, but it's cool. Everyone's got to start somewhere. But ultimately, you want to be your own coach. You want to be your own mentor. You want to be self-reliant. You want to be clear here. And then it's all so easy. When you're clear here, it's a walk in the park, all of it. But when you're not, in the early days, you need to do a lot more work to get clear in here. All right. All right. D, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hello. Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year to you. Hey, hey.
Happy New Day.
Yes. There you go. Happy New Hour.
Remember,
go,
we
you
never seen this day before. We never seen this day. It's a new day.
There you go. Absolutely.
But I wanted you to expound upon dead while you're alive.
Okay, good. So dead while you're alive is kind of self-explanatory in that when life happens, right, the circumstances, the situations, when life is happening, if in that moment you don't have a bigger purpose, that is all that is around you is what's not working. When life's throwing curveballs, throwing lemons, doing whatever it's doing, when you're disempowered, whether it's your relationship broke down, your health got attacked, your finances were crumbling, whatever it might be, right? Whatever it might be, when that stuff's happening, a piece of us gives up. A piece of us dies. And that's what I mean by when you're dead while you're alive, in that you're not empowered. So that part of you might as well be dead because there's no life in it. There's no energy, there's no vibration, there's no frequency in that part of your life. And so for me, it's like, how do you bring life back into that? And how you do that is like I shared there. You find a bigger purpose beyond the circumstance. Does that help?
Yes.
So if I broke it down to a practical solution, for example, let's say relationships is a common one, right? That affects people emotionally a lot, right? So when a relationship breaks down, doesn't work out, most people are focusing on why it didn't work. And that generally creates a massive disempowering negative spiral of blaming the other or blaming yourself. Make sense?
Yes.
That doesn't lead anywhere empowering. By flipping the mindset or switching the mindset to a bigger picture and saying, okay, what did I learn from that? Not blaming anyone, not judging yourself, not judging the other. What did I learn from that? What value was added to my life because of it? And then imagine if I can use that to build even bigger and better relationships in the future.
Okay, then what about if it's the attack is not necessarily a relationship, but the attack is financial,
Yeah,
which
brilliant.
led to health, which led to health.
Yeah, and it often does, right? Like I said, stress is the biggest killer. Finance is one of the biggest stress creators. So the two are strongly linked, right? So
Right.
yeah, finance. Let's talk about that. What's most people's relationship to finance? It's linear. So most people do not create finance. They just depend on how it is. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah.
So when money is a constant, i.e. somebody's got a job and it creates the illusion of long-term security, it's okay. They work it out, right? There's no stress for most. I mean, there's stress in terms of there's normally not enough to cover the expenses, but if they really were committed, they could reduce the expenses and get it covered. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes sense. But
Right. So
I'm talking about a crime, like a financial crime.
okay. So, but it doesn't matter what the situation is. It doesn't matter what it is.
Okay.
So the crime could be that suddenly you lose your job and your income has gone from, it was here and you knew what you were doing, to suddenly it's not there and you haven't got a clue what you're going to do next. Does that make sense?
Yes.
You went from a recognizable, comfortable, familiar place to a completely unfamiliar place. And you're like, holy crap, how did that happen? Now what?
Right.
Whether it was money stolen off you, you know, the how it happened doesn't matter. You find yourself in a situation that financially you're crippled, a part of you dies. You stop breathing, literally stop breathing. People, their breathing reduces, they're breathing shallow because of the stress. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes.
So yeah, that's the feelings, right? That's the emotions and the feelings that tighten up, that close down, and it reflects in the breathing. Can you see?
Yes.
Your body is tight, you're not open, you're closed. Your breathing's not deep, it's shallow. You're struggling.
Right.
You're struggling with money, you're struggling to breathe. Breath is life, you're dead. All you've got to do in that situation, and I say all you've got to do, it's the last thing you want to do in that situation, because your language, your thinking is disempowering. Your words and description is disempowering. Your feelings as a result are disempowering. Your self-belief is on the floor. Therefore, your actions are going to be lousy. You're creating, and you're not, and because you don't own it, you're not 100% responsible for it. It's something that happened to you.
Right.
There's no power. When something happens to you, there's no power.
Right.
That's why I say you got to take 100% responsibility. Like, okay, it's not what I want. I didn't want to lose my job. I didn't want to get robbed. I didn't want that thing to happen, but it's happened.
Right.
What can I be responsible? Well, no, I'm responsible for all of it, right? Not from a place of blame. I'm just responsible. I own it. When you say you're responsible, it means you're ready to own the situation. Does that make sense?
Own it as in that
I own this. I've created this in my life.
It's not a dream. This really happened.
Correct.
Okay.
So now this has happened and I own this. What can I learn from this? Same process again. What can I learn from this? What can I build from this? What were the experiences that I had along the way that I can draw from in the future to not repeat the same mistakes, to build even bigger and better again in the future? Whatever I've created once, I can create again and use it as a reference point. It's just an experience. Everything's just an experience. It's temporary. Everything is this too shall pass. The quicker you allow it to pass, the quicker you can rebuild something new. Does that make sense?
Yes.
The more you hold on to it, the less likely you are to build anything new because you're still holding on to it. It's done. Nothing you can do about what's done. Spilt milk. Mop it up. Start again.
Easier said than done, though.
Yeah, but listen to this. A lot harder to not do it. What's the alternative? Hang on. Hold on to it. How long for? How long have you been holding on to this situation for?
For some years.
How long?
Some years.
Years, right?
Yep.
How's that working out?
It's not.
Can you see? How much longer do you want to hold on to it for?
I don't. I just don't know what to do.
Okay, good. The starting point is knowing that you don't want to hold on to it anymore.
Mhm.
Now you start applying the stuff that I've shared. You got to think beyond what happened. Bigger purpose, bigger vision, bigger thinking. That lesson was there for you to learn from. And now you got to be ready to learn from it, draw from it, take from it what it was trying to tell you. You got stuck in the situation. You killed finance for 7 years. The good news is it's New Year's. You can start again. You have permission worldwide. The globe gives everyone permission once a year to start again. How about that?
Mhm.
You missed 7 opportunities. Let's not miss this one. And it's work daily. This isn't something we talk about now. You come off this Zoom and you bury your head under the blanket again and forget about it. Hope it goes. You just something different or you don't. Got it?
Yeah.
So no more burying head in the sand. No more holding on to it. It's done. The milk has been spilt. You haven't mopped it up yet. So focus on mopping it up. Own it. Listen, whatever you lost, isn't it magical that you were able to create that? There are people on this planet that never had the opportunity to create whatever it is you might have created before and lost.
Yeah.
Magic. That's the magic. You create something that you could lose. There are people that never create anything that they could lose. How about that? So you've got something there. If you're willing to learn from it and draw on it, there's magic there. You just didn't focus on the magic. You focused on all of the disempowering stuff, which is what most people do by default. The darkness is always there. Our job is to keep bringing light. Make sense?
Yeah.
Keep working on that and reach out to me if you need more clarity. I'm going to move on to Goran. Thank you for that, Dee.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Goran, how you doing, buddy?
Yeah, fantastic. Happy New Year to
Happy New
everyone.
Year,
and to
buddy.
yourself. Yeah, thank you for that session. I think you've encapsulated the very keys to creating success, and I just hope everyone that's on this call can go back and listen to it. Maybe if you weren't doing so, stop at each section, take a few notes, and write down how that might apply to you. I can think of so many stories relating to different elements of what you were sharing. Just, I'm going to share a couple of quick ones if that's all right.
Yeah.
And just in relation to Dee, there probably isn't a person on this call right now who hasn't gone through something. Some of you know my story. You know, it was only 2 years ago that I'd created, whether through misfortune, wrong thinking, and I think it was wrong thinking, and as a result of that, lack of action, a situation where I had to go and raid my son's piggy bank, literally, Sharon's laughing because she knows the story, to buy dinner on a particular night. A few days later, I was asked to get on a call with you, Kalpesh.
Yeah.
And I took that opportunity and had only one thought in mind, and it reminds me of a story, and I think it's appropriate to share it because I woke up this morning and sadly one of my idols in the network marketing industry, someone who I was fortunate enough to call a mentor 10 years ago, Nathan Ricks, passed away yesterday, tragically in a plane crash. He was the pilot. Yeah. And look, that guy, his story is amazing. I mean, his brother-in-law was one of the family associated with starting New Skin, 30, actually it's nearly 40 years ago. Amazing. And he'd been in it for 5 minutes in the early days and decided, nah, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to be a real estate agent. So he went out and he was pretty successful over the next 4 or 5 years as a real estate agent. And then his brother-in-law called him up one day. This is about 1989, folks. And he said to him, look, I'm about to hit $100,000 a month in income. Now, Nathan was gobsmacked. He was shocked and he was irritated. But because of his competitive nature, He said, all right, sign me up. And he had one focus, and this comes into play with your diagram with the target. He had one focus, and that was because he thought, well, his brother had already done 100,000, so how could he possibly do it? And he said, well, we're just getting started. Doesn't matter what I've done. The best is yet to come. And so Nathan decided that he was going to have one focus in mind. He was going to make 100,000 a month, and he set a goal within 12 months.
Wow.
Right now, and then he did the key thing that most people don't do when they set a goal. He absolutely went into massive action. In fact, he decided that he would stop his real estate job. He worked out he could survive for 3 months or 4 months on what they'd saved. Okay. And basically by the 4th month, they were ahead of from a monthly income. And he just worked and worked and worked, did whatever it took. And on December 31, 1990, which was his first 12 months, because he's basically started in January of 1990, the income clocked over, and it was $99,997 for the month.
Wow. I
Right.
love that.
So he
Look at
missed
that.
it by
Can't get more
$3.
specific than
Missed
that.
it by $3.
Wow.
Right. I always remember that story. But the key thing was he had that figure in his mind. He had that goal
Yes.
that it was unconditional that he was going to achieve it. Now, since then, he never missed a month below 100,000. In fact, he's created a monstrous legacy. Millions of people in his organization made probably hundreds of millions of dollars. You know, he owns half of Utah. The guy invested into commercial real estate. He, you know, has his own ranch, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, today I've been reading some of the comments, you know, in relation to the fact that he's passed and the people that were impacted. I was impacted by him. I got to spend about 2 hours with him in Auckland, New Zealand, literally 10 years ago, when we were involved in an event there. And amazing guy. So lost too young, but I suppose on reflection, created an unbelievable legacy. Literally millions of people in his organization, hundreds of thousands of people he would have impacted directly over the last 30 odd years. And, you know, maybe that's not our individual goal, but whatever your goal is, if you set your mind to it, if you're prepared to take action, it's possible. And just one more quick story. Another friend of ours, you know, Daryl, right, in Australia, about that time as well, 10, 12 years ago, he was involved in running a gold buying business. They became the fastest growing retailer in Australia, and they decided to go global. And he was in the UK, and guess who he had the opportunity to meet with? Sir Richard Branson. But he had to pay $10,000 for the privilege, right? And he got half an hour. And apparently Branson sat with him, and his business partner was there as well. And he basically said, okay, tell me what you do and what you've done. And now they were pretty proud of what they'd done because they, you know, conquered the Aussie market. They were starting to go through Europe. They were opening up America. They were doing a whole bunch of really good things. And then at the end of it, they laid out everything that they'd done. And he said, Richard Branson basically looked up and he said, you need to think bigger.
Look at that.
That was it. That was his advice. Think bigger. You might think that you're thinking big right now, but no, you got to think bigger. And I think right now we're at the start of a new year. Everything's fresh. Everything's ready to be conquered. Some of us are going to Thailand. Some of us on this screen right now are going to be in Thailand. And there's going to be some things come out of that that'll make the opportunity even better. But guys, what we've got in our hands right now is good enough. All we've got to do is get out and get it done. Thanks for all you do,
Thank
Kalpesh.
you.
Well done.
Awesome. Absolutely beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. And sorry for your loss and the loss for the industry. Whenever a legend goes, it's it's a shame for everybody for sure.
Absolutely.
Sue.
Good.
Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much, Kalpesh, for an awesome conversation, shall I say, and condolences, Goran, to you and your community, right? So yeah, so I just want to just really say to you is that you're close to Buddha, right, Kalpesh? Like, you don't need a vision board or props, but mere mortals like us, right? We need some props, yeah.
Mortals. No, like I said, depending on which part of the journey you're on, absolutely in the beginning you want to use that, but don't let them be your crutches.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm still in the place where, you know what, like for me, I create one at the beginning of the year, you know, to kind of help me get going around, you know, what is it? So I do like things to be visual, right? So because I'm a visual person, but so for me, you know, I do create a few props here and there. You know, I write down my goals every month. I write down my goals for this year, what I want to create. And I do create the vision board, and, you know, I really do spend some time on a daily basis, like, you know, visualizing and really creating what is it that I want to create this year. And, you know, I'm not going to lie, you know, last year, you know, well, this last year has, you know, it's had its roller coaster, right? The beginning of the year was amazing. And then halfway through it kind of like took a bit of a nosedive. And, you know, I lost a lot of money, you know, in the process, through very poor decisions, through, you know, whatever you want to talk about it, you know. And it's very easy to go into default of like, oh my God, I've lost all that money. What am I going to do? You know, I wish I could get it back. And, you know, all that, beat myself up about it and become really ill. Like you said, you know, get stressed out about it. But, you know, you kind of said to me, actually, it was really cool. You said that, you know what, that money was never meant to be yours. You know, you were only keeping it for a while, right? And it really hit home that actually, you know, we become so attached to money, or we make money bigger than us, right? Or bigger than, you know, life and, you know, humanness. And actually, when you just let that go, you know, when I let that go, I kind of really created that, you know what, I created that money in the first place, you know, through the work that I did, through how I manifested it, whatever, right? You know, manifestation, visualization, and creating it, like taking the action. So I created that. And I know that if I created that once, I could create it again. And actually, all that's happened is that in the last 6 months, since, you know, we found WeWe Global, like, I've just been on it, like, you know, like really playing intentionally, creating my goals, showing up in this community, stepping up as a leader. And I'm loving it, you know. And the thing is, it's like you said, you know, just taking full accountability. Like, I lost that money. I was meant to lose that money. It's taught me so much. Like, it's not something that happened to me. I create that. It's something that happened for me, because if it didn't happen, I wouldn't have learned the lesson that I needed to learn at the time, you know. And I've learned so much. So everything happens for us. And, you know, and I just really get that, you know, I created that once, I'm going to create it again. And it's all good. You know, I'm super excited for 2023. My goals are way bigger than I've ever had them before. And, you know, I'm very, very excited to be in this community. And I just want to share, actually, today is Bitcoin's birthday.
Yeah,
it's
it is.
14 years ago that Bitcoin came about, on the 3rd of January. And it's just incredible. I mean, 2 years ago, I didn't even know about Bitcoin, you know, and here we are, kind of, you know, like, we're holding it. We know how to play with it. We know, you know, how to work it. And, you know, we're in real business with Bitcoin here, you know, so it is an incredible journey. And, you know, how many opportunities did we miss out over the past? How often, you know, I didn't even know about it, right? And even in the beginning, when we knew about it, we didn't believe in it. Like, what is it even? And here it is 14 years later, you know, a topic of a, you know, top of the conversation for many people in the business world. So yeah, so thank you so much for an awesome conversation today.
Thank you. Beautiful sharing. Thank you so much for that, Sue. And congrats on everything that you're creating. And keep going with those vision boards.
Yeah.
Sharon, how you doing, hon?
Hi, happy new year to everyone.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, I hope everybody's doing great. I'm just listening to you, just kind of, I was going to say something and then realized what Sue, on the back end of Sue, talking about the loss of money. if I told everybody what I've lost over the last 10 years, you would poop your pants. I'm talking fortunes. And it's weird, you know, it's all created by us or you, or, you know, and people will call things scams and people, but the reality is when we were involved with anything, it's real. Everything is real. So when something's taken away from you, you know, you've just got to keep going. And I go back to, you know, 10 years ago, maybe actually 14 years ago, when I was kindly, my ex-partner left me in over 100,000 worth of debt. And that was a beautiful gift from him. And I look back now and I think that's probably the best thing that he ever did for me. But at the time, it was the biggest battle. You know, I had 6 properties to battle on with my own. I never lost one. I battled every single day. I did have a very good business. I taught judo for a living. So I was, I had a gift. I had a gift of teaching children judo. And thankfully, you know, I created that energy and flow, and then, you know, got involved with network marketing, and it completely changed my life, got me out of debt, helped hundreds of people, thousands of people. And it's such a beautiful industry. And every time that you lose, you know, it leaves a scar on you. And the scarring, you know, I think if it wasn't for Kalpesh, I probably wouldn't really be back in the industry today. Am I back to, do I feel where I was years ago? Probably not. I always think I'm in second gear. And maybe one day I'll come out into 5th gear. I don't know. Well, I seriously, you know, and then I think, phew, thank God I didn't get into full gear. Thank God I didn't. But, you know, I mean, Kalpesh will tell you, you know, we lost, you know, 150 grand only 2 months ago on an exchange. And people say, oh my God, Sharon, are you not devastated? Well, yeah, I am. But what am I going to do about it? Nothing. I can't do jack shit about it apart from create it again, do something. So let me tell you, when the odds are against you, and if you are on this call tonight, and I know for a fact, if you have a clear vision, if you are desperate, if you are struggling, sometimes we can all be a little bit lazy because we are pretty comfortable. Some people can be a little bit comfortable. If you're not comfortable, then you're going to have to seriously work. But for me, it's about, I'm in a position now that I want to help the masses. I want to help people to, you know, for the next 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years. That is my mission, because I just see what we're doing today is it's incredible. I mean, seriously, guys, what we've got in our hands is it's a gift. It's unlike anything that, you know, I'm sure you said, oh, well, we've heard that before. Well, actually, no, because the full transparency is there. So I'm pretty excited about where we are. I'm setting my goals. I wrote my goals. I've had them in my mind. I wrote extra goals on my notes New Year's Eve while I was out. I was like, sugar, I haven't put that down. So I've set health goals, wealth, family. Family's massive to me. My children are my world. And I'll be honest with you, I don't really do it for me. I do it for my kids. So all I need to do is stick my kids' faces in front of me and I'll go to work, you know? So I think find your why. Find, if it's not for you, look why you want to do it. If you need to lose some weight, find why you need to do it. If you need to make money, just do something every single day, and that's going to help you achieve your goals. You may not be a Kalpesh Patel, okay? You might not be a Sue Patel, but honestly, guys, if you just keep action every day, say to yourself, I'm going to do one thing today to make a better me. And honestly, by default, I promise you'll get there, because that is all I did, was kept going. And I look back for 10 years and I think, actually, I'm quite proud of myself, what I've done. And that was because I didn't give up. And I believe that we've all got it in us. So, just do this for you or your family or whoever you're doing it for, and make this happen, because I believe that we've got a gift in our hands. And I'm looking at a 3-year plan, Kalpesh, and I want to be retired in 3 years.
Boom. Come on, let's get it done. I'll get you refired in 3 years, man.
Yeah,
We've got plans for you.
Retired in 3 years. 3 years. And not retired, just retired doing something else.
Refired up.
Refired. Yeah.
I mean,
Well done, Kalpesh. Thanks for doing these.
Thank you. Amazing, Sharon. And yeah, as you say, everybody's gone through all of the ups and downs, but
yeah,
how you deal with that stuff is the most important of all. So yes. Dizzy.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I was just as Sharon said, retired, a word came in my head and you said it, refired, because sometimes all you need to do is change the letter. So first of all, thank you, Kalpesh, for doing what you do. The nuggets I got today was, rather than do a monthly goal, a weekly goal, or a daily, how often are you resetting that vision? And I've never heard you say that before, but if you analyze it every day, it's gonna stay here. Like you said. I did get a gift of a vision board for Christmas, which I'll do anyway, but I think, like you said,
Been it after 30 days.
But I've
look at it every day for 30 days, it will be imprinted in your head anyway.
There you go.
Gosh.
So I think it's a beautiful opportunity for everyone to restart. And the other thing I got was, you said about, something that I think has been holding me back is when other people compare what you said you were going to do last year. Oh, you haven't done it. And taking that personally, when I can just let go and just carry on.
Yeah.
Carry on. Because people are going to say what they're going to say anyway, aren't they?
They always do.
They always do. So just get refired, put them goals in your mind, and just stay focused. So thank you again for delivering, as you do, as usual, the perfect delivery.
Awesome. Thank you, Diz. And again, it's that same thing that we're more interested in what others are saying about us. And that tells us everything you're saying about yourself. When you're more interested in what others are saying about you, that tells you everything about yourself, right? So the name of the game is that you get interested in what you're saying about you. And whatever anyone's saying, you can't even relate to it. It's like that story that I say, right? Buddha says, if somebody gives you a gift, who does that gift belong to? I love that. If somebody gives you a gift, who does that gift belong to? And that all depends on whether you receive the gift or not. It's up to you to take the gift on or not. So if you refuse the gift, they didn't give you anything. They get to keep it. They get to keep their opinion of you, their ideas of you, their judgments of you. The only time that becomes anything is when you take it from them. You accept it. So, know who you are. Give yourself the gift of you. You don't need gifts from other people that are not empowering you, building you, growing you. Let them keep those gifts to themselves. Hassan.
Hey, champ.
Hey.
Yeah, awesome. And I don't know how you do it, Kalps. You just smash it out of the park. And every time I hear you, I always take something new. I'm completely new to this industry, other than the last couple of years that I've been in this space. And similar to Sue, I lost a lot of money. And I'm not attached to the money in any way, because I know I'll make it back again. And I thought about this some months ago, that the man that I had to become to get to the top of the plan, and literally break myself up and do things that I've never done before was absolutely insane. Like, I mean, when I look at this Zoom now and I see you, Goran, Sue, Sharon, Dizzy, all legends in this space, right? And it's taken some serious, I remember, I was on Zooms till sometimes 11, 12 o'clock at night. I was doing Zooms in other parts of the world, had a huge team. And that can be had again, So for me, it wasn't the attachment of the money. I think it was more the hurt that I felt of what actually happened. But I'm at a place now where that will all come back again. And it will come back in a way that it will be even more than I can even possibly imagine. But the person that I had to become to make that happen was just incredible. And that's still within me. I've got some big goals, and yeah, I think this year is going to be an exciting year. And also I'm really excited about this project that we've got here. I feel really safe and settled that we've got a long-term project. Because I remember, yourself, Caps, we looked at many projects, right? And out of all of them, this was standalone for me, and all the Zooms that we was on and stuff for what this is, and building teams takes work. And to have a DAO, I can't still just fathom that sometimes, that that the team stays with you wherever you go. That's just insane for any networker on this Zoom right now. That's that is something really, really special. So yeah, I'm excited. And also, I'm not attached to the team that I built either. I'm going to do this regardless of if they come or not. I'm doing what I'm doing. And also just having just there's conversations that are happening, very organic, and I'm just doing what I do, and so yeah, a bright year for all of us on this Zoom.
Absolutely.
So
Legend. Hassan, thank you so much. And yeah, just a real pleasure to hear you clarifying some of that, like really just getting clear about doing it with or without. We're oftentimes attached to if only this one would do it with me, or if that one would do it with me, if they were with me, then I'd be. No, you do everything you're going to do anyway. Yeah, well, it's that thing is if you build it, they will come. It's one of those scenarios. If you build it, they will come. The number of people that are constantly dripping back to me, reaching out, coming back round again. Kalps, what was that thing you were telling me about? I wasn't ready to listen 6 months ago. What were you talking about again? They're knocking on your door, right? Because you're consistent, you're focused, you're on that path, and they know that they're going to find you on that path. That's power. That's power. When you know who you are, what you stand for, and where you're heading, then so does everybody else. But if you don't know who you are, what you stand for, and where you're heading, nobody else does either. They won't know where to find you. But when you become consistent, people know you're the light, you're the lighthouse, you're the pillar, you are the thing that they can count on, that they know that you're the constant, and constant always wins, always. So that's where the power is. All right, when people know who you are, what you stand for, and where to find you, bang. When they think opportunity, are they thinking about you? When they think leadership, are they thinking about you? When they think focus, are they thinking about you? When they think count-onable, reliable, integrity, trustworthy, are they thinking about you? The rest, as they say, is all in the manifesting. Thank you. It's been amazing. Happy New Year to everybody. Make sure you get this out to your teams, to your contacts, your partners, your future partners. Share it. Let them know that you're up for doing something spectacular. You're up for thinking bigger, and you want to include them in your thinking bigger, and see if you can find a way to merge paths and start working on something together. Use this video as that tool to attract your future partners. Thank you. Much love. Mwah. See you again every single Tuesday on this spot, same time, same place, count-onable, reliable as anything. And then all the other nights of the week, any of the other leaders, count-onable, reliable, delivering solid content, education, training, support, presentations, everything. It's all there. The systems are in place for you to do whatever you choose to do. You own it, 100% you. Nobody else can make you successful. Only one person can do that, and that is you. Thank you. Mwah. Ciao. See ya.